Welcome to Podcast Story, where every story of infidelity not only brings deep emotions but also reveals intriguing and captivating secrets. Let's explore the many dimensions of love. For a long time, I silently endured my wife's authoritarian power plays. But when she turned infidelity into a pastime, openly challenging me in front of everyone, I decided to strike back. And that was when I destroyed the career she had once been so proud of. Liam, 33, has been married to Madison, 34, for 8 years. At first, their relationship seemed like the ideal partnership, one built on mutual respect and shared ambitions. Liam, working as a custodian, had always admired Madison's drive. She was successful in the corporate world, working in finance, and her rapid ascent in her career had always made him proud. Though his job was steady, it didn't pay well, so he had been taking night classes to change his career path, hoping to give them both a better future. Madison had once been his biggest supporter. She encouraged him to pursue his education, telling him she believed in his potential. But in recent months, something had changed. Madison's support slowly turned into condescension. Her once enthusiastic cheers for his night classes were now replaced with eye rolls and snide remarks about how long it was taking him to improve their lives. The shift in their dynamic was subtle at first. It started with small criticisms, how he chose to unwind by playing video games after work, how his clothes weren't as sharp as the men she worked with, how his ambitions seemed small compared to her achievements. Each comment stung, but Liam brushed them off, believing they were just passing frustrations or moments of stress from her job. Yet, the tension between them only escalated. Arguments about the smallest things, like his choice of leisure activities or his occasional late-night studying, became full-blown conflicts. Madison's once subtle barbs turned into outright attacks. "You'll never be successful, not like Derek," she said one night, mentioning a coworker she had recently started talking about more and more. At first, Liam tried to rationalize her words, assuming she was just venting. But it didn't take long for him to realize that her words weren't just careless, they were meant to hurt him. Her praise of Derek wasn't innocent, it was a pointed reminder that in her eyes, he was failing as a husband. Liam began to see the cracks in their relationship that had been widening over time, but he wasn't prepared for what was to come next. The first real signs of trouble began to surface when Madison's criticisms became more frequent and cutting. Liam couldn't ignore the change any longer. She belittled him over small things, like the way he dressed or how he spent his free time playing video games to unwind. It seemed that everything about him bothered her now. Her once gentle encouragement turned into harsh words, making Liam feel inadequate in his own home. During their arguments, Madison didn't hold back. "You're a failure," she said one night, her voice dripping with contempt. The sting of her words was deep, and Liam found himself questioning his self-worth. What had started as a few offhand comments had become a pattern of toxic behavior, and Liam felt the weight of it pressing down on him. Every conversation with her seemed to escalate into a confrontation, leaving him emotionally drained. Madison's passive-aggressive behavior intensified. She frequently brought up Derek, her coworker, in casual conversation, always highlighting his successes. "Derek just bought a new car," she'd mention, her tone laced with admiration. It wasn't just an innocent comment, it was a deliberate comparison, one designed to remind Liam of what he hadn't achieved. He couldn't help but feel the growing sense of inferiority. Over time, Liam started to suspect that Madison wasn't just frustrated with him but was deliberately instigating arguments. She seemed to relish the power she held over him, pushing his buttons and enjoying the distress it caused. Her remarks grew crueler, and Liam noticed a pattern emerging. Whenever he tried to talk to her about their issues, she would twist the conversation, making it seem like he was the one at fault. He began to question his own perceptions, wondering if he was imagining the manipulation. As the tension between them mounted, Madison's cruelty reached new heights. It wasn't just about their personal life anymore, she began to praise Derek in ways that made Liam uncomfortable, hinting that Derek was more of a real man because he could provide for his family. Liam knew then that something deeper was going on. The strain of their relationship had reached a breaking point, and he was no longer sure if they could come back from it. Liam's suspicions began to solidify when he accidentally stumbled upon an email between Madison and her coworker, Derek. He hadn't meant to pry, but as he used her laptop to send a quick message for his night class, an open tab revealed a conversation between the two. The email wasn't outright explicit, but the tone was undeniably flirtatious. It was enough to make Liam's stomach turn. Madison had never been careless with her personal communications before, and this carelessness felt deliberate, almost as if she wanted him to find it. Over the next few weeks, Madison's behavior only added to his growing unease. She no longer bothered to lock her phone or close her laptop when she left them unattended, leaving her private messages easily accessible. Liam couldn't shake the feeling that this was her way of flaunting her infidelity, of reminding him that he wasn't enough. The more careless she became, the more evidence he was able to gather. It wasn't just Derek, there were flirtations with 2 other men from her office, messages filled with subtle innuendo and hints at more than just professional relationships. Each discovery hit Liam harder than the last. He felt trapped in a nightmare he couldn't wake from, powerless to confront the growing betrayal that loomed over him. Madison's disregard for their marriage, her willingness to openly engage in these flirtations, made him feel like a fool. The image of the life they'd built together was rapidly unraveling before his eyes. One day, as he sat with her laptop, yet another message confirmed his worst fears. Derek's words were explicit this time, leaving no room for doubt. They had crossed a line, and there was no going back. The affair wasn't just emotional, it was physical. The realization crashed over Liam like a tidal wave. Madison wasn't just being unfaithful, she was flaunting it, using her affairs to chip away at his confidence, to further assert her control over him. Liam knew, in that moment, that his marriage was irreparably broken. Liam's emotions reached their breaking point after seeing the latest message from Derek. It wasn't just another suggestive comment, this time, Derek made it clear that their relationship had become physical. The words seared into Liam's mind, confirming what he had feared all along. He could no longer ignore the truth, and the betrayal he felt was overwhelming. That evening, Liam waited for Madison to return home. His heart raced, and his mind replayed every hurtful comment, every cruel look, and every piece of evidence he had gathered. When she walked through the door, acting as if nothing had changed, the rage that had been simmering inside him finally erupted. "I know about you and Derek," Liam said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Madison didn't seem surprised. Instead of denying it or showing any remorse, she simply laughed, a cold, mocking sound that cut through him like a knife. "You finally figured it out," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "I was wondering how long it would take you." Liam's hands clenched into fists, not out of anger, but out of the sheer helplessness he felt in that moment. "Why? Why would you do this?" he demanded, searching her face for any sign of guilt or regret. But there was none. Madison smirked, leaning casually against the kitchen counter. "Because you're weak, Liam. You're not enough for me, and you never will be. Derek, and every other man I've been with, is more of a man than you'll ever be." Her words cut deeper than any betrayal. Liam felt his world crashing down around him. But instead of breaking, something inside him shifted. The helplessness turned into a fierce determination. He wouldn't let her continue to belittle him, to strip away his dignity piece by piece. "I've been collecting everything," Liam said quietly, his voice calm. "All the emails, the texts, the evidence of your affairs. I'm done with this. I'm done with you." For the first time, Madison's confidence wavered. She stared at him, her smirk fading. "You wouldn't dare," she hissed. But Liam didn't flinch. "Watch me. I'm going to divorce you, and I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are." The balance of power shifted in that moment. Madison had underestimated him, and now, it was Liam who held the upper hand. With a newfound sense of purpose, Liam set out to gather every piece of evidence he had accumulated over the past few weeks. Every flirty email, every incriminating text message, and every unprofessional exchange between Madison and her coworkers, especially Derek, was meticulously documented. He knew that simply walking away wasn't enough. Madison had not only betrayed him but had reveled in his misery. Now, it was time for her to face the consequences of her actions. Liam worked carefully, ensuring that he left no stone unturned. He crafted an email addressed to several key figures in Madison's company, including high-level executives, her co-workers, and even some of their most important clients. The email contained all the proof of her inappropriate relationships with Derek and other men from her workplace, as well as screenshots showing how carelessly she had left sensitive company information unsecured. He hesitated for a brief moment before hitting send, knowing the storm it would unleash. But the thought of Madison's cruel laughter as she mocked him pushed him forward. He clicked the button, and the message went out into the world. The fallout was immediate. Within hours, Liam received word that Madison's company had erupted into chaos. Executives were furious about her unprofessional behavior, and her reputation was destroyed. Clients were pulling out of contracts, and her co-workers, who had once been charmed by her, were now avoiding her like the plague. Madison had always prided herself on her perfect corporate image, but now that image was shattered. Madison, of course, tried to confront him. She stormed into their house, her face red with anger, demanding to know why he had done this to her. But Liam was calm, even as she screamed and hurled accusations. He had already filed for a restraining order, effectively cutting her out of his life. There was nothing more she could do to hurt him now. As Madison's career crumbled around her, Liam felt a sense of closure. He had endured her emotional abuse for far too long, but now the tables had turned. His revenge was complete, and for the first time in years, he felt free. After the dust settled, Liam began to rebuild his life. The divorce was finalized quickly, with Madison too preoccupied with the fallout from her career to fight him for anything significant. The evidence of her infidelity and unprofessional conduct had left her reputation in shambles, and she quietly moved to a new city, attempting to start over. For Liam, it was a clean break, one he had needed for years but hadn't realized until everything fell apart. As he completed his night classes and started looking for new career opportunities, Liam felt a sense of accomplishment. He had faced the darkest moments of his life and come out stronger on the other side. No longer burdened by Madison's cruelty and manipulation, he felt lighter, more focused. The future that once seemed bleak was now full of possibility. Though Liam's emotional scars from the relationship were still fresh, he found solace in the fact that he no longer had to endure the constant barrage of insults and demeaning remarks. His confidence, long eroded by Madison's toxic behavior, began to return, slowly but surely. He started reconnecting with old friends, people he had distanced himself from during his marriage, and found support in those who had always cared for him. Liam often reflected on the years he had spent trying to please Madison, wondering how he had missed the signs of her betrayal for so long. But he didn't dwell on it. Instead, he focused on his personal growth, using the pain of the past as motivation to move forward. The new career path he was pursuing, one he had doubted for so long, now felt like a tangible reality within his grasp. There were still moments when the memories of Madison's cruel words would resurface, but Liam had learned to push them aside. He knew that, in time, the emotional wounds would heal and he would emerge even stronger. For the first time in years, he felt free from the toxic relationship, free to live life on his own terms, and free to rediscover his self-worth. The journey had been difficult, but now, Liam was ready to embrace the future and all the possibilities it held. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Goodbye.